If you're a man with money, what's the point of marriage? Seriously, what's the point of getting married unless you want to lose all your shit? Unless you want to end up in court and have to pay somebody a bunch of money that they didn't earn, okay? And before you say, oh, it's to have a family and have kids, you don't need to do that anymore. You can go to a fertility clinic these days and you could have a kid whenever you want as a man with no woman in your life. You could just buy somebody's eggs and then pay a surrogate mother to carry that kid to term. Boom. You have a child. And guess what the best part about that is? Not only do you have a kid, you don't have to worry about some bitter woman trying to take that kid from you or demand money from you or keep bothering you for 18 years. And before you say, well, if you're a working man and you have money, well, how are you going to raise the kids? Easy. If you got money, you got the solution. The solution is nannies, maid, cook, whatever. Okay? And then when you come home, you get to enjoy time with your kid. So if you really want kids, you don't need to get married to have kids if you have money, is my point. And I would argue that if you get married these days and you have money as a man, you're probably just a little slow, okay? Or you're not all there, or maybe you have some type of kink or fetish where you like to give away all your money or have it robbed from you or taken from you, okay? Because most of the time, that's what happens, okay? Most of these marriages will end up in failure. And what happens? The woman who you married, who had nothing when you married her, but you had everything, is going to try to take everything from you or demand as much as she can because she never loved you. It was never about you. It was about what you could provide for her and what you could do for her, okay? And before you sit here and say, oh, no, this guy's bitter, I know my wife really loves me. I know that the woman I'm with really loves me. Listen, if you're a man with money, I'm only talking to men with money, okay? Why don't you do a little test? Why don't you do a little test, okay? For 60 to 90 days, it's got to be at least 60 to 90 days, because if it's 30 days, she won't show you her true colors. For 60 to 90 days, make up an elaborate lie that something went terribly wrong. You got sued. Something bad happened to the business. All the money's gone. Whatever you got to do, okay? Start making her struggle. Can't pay for her hair, can't pay for her nails, can't pay for this, can't pay for that. When she wants to go grocery shopping, say, we ain't gonna have money for that. We can't even pay the mortgage. We got nothing. But you got to make it last 60 to 90 days, and something magical is going to happen. You're going to realize she never loved you. The only thing she loved was the security that you could provide. So why would you want to do that? Why would you ever want to do that? Don't make no sense.
They swear they don't understand why men disappeared. They say it's fear, trauma, or immaturity. But what you're about to hear exposes something much uglier. Normalized cheating, marriage is a trap, total loss of respect, and a system that punishes anyone who tries to take relationships seriously.
Bro, as a male nurse, bro, working in the healthcare field, bro, I promise you, the shit that you see is crazy. The amount of people that's sleeping with each other here is ridiculous. Everybody here is sleeping with each other. Everybody, right? And you know what the worst part is? Half these people are married. To the married men and female on go. Everybody. Married people sleeping with the married people sleeping with the patients, married people sleeping with the single people. Everybody's doing some shit, bro. And it's weird to me. But the worst part is, the married people actually has a whole community about it. This is the thing. They know about each other. They talk about it. And they still want to go. And I'm like, bro, I actually just heard this girl support her, like, friend. Like, oh, yeah, there's nothing wrong with sleeping with that girl, her husband, because, you know what I'm saying, as long as he take care of you and your responsibility, that ain't your problem. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn. Now, how would you feel if that was you? And I'm like, bro, females are savages. And I'm like, damn, they really don't give a shit. Now, as niggas, you know what I'm saying, y'all cheat, y'all dirty, that's nasty. These girls already know that. But it's weird to see, like, girls actually partaking in, and it's like, if you look, like, girls really do support some stuff, and they just don't talk about it. They just keep everything on the hush-hush.
This story exposes modern hypocrisy. Cheating has been normalized, even encouraged, especially in environments where there are no real consequences. The scariest part isn't just the cheating, it's the support system around it. Friends justify it, excuse it, and call it empowerment. Men see this and conclude, if even marriage doesn't protect loyalty, what does? Trust dies right there. No serious man wants to marry knowing there's an entire culture ready to normalize his partner's infidelity. That's not paranoia. It's a cold reading of modern behavior.
Every time I talk to married men, they're trying to convince me not to get married. How is it that you have the woman of your dreams, but you convincing other men not to get married? Most men that's married don't want to be married, or they got married for the wrong reasons. They didn't get married because they genuinely wanted to. They got married because they just thought that was just the next steps that they were supposed to do. And then every time we have a conversation, they're trying to push me away from marriage. And then they're surprised by my response because I'm heavy on I want to get married. I'm heavy on men being married. Only if these men's wives knew how they was talking about marriage behind their backs.
So how much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. Let's just say everything.
Here's the most concrete reason of all. The financial and emotional risk is insane. A man builds wealth for decades and ends up losing half or more, even if he was the provider. It's not just money, it's dignity, mental health, faith, motivation, everything goes with it. When men hear stories like this, they learn fast. Modern marriage has become Russian roulette. You go in whole and come out broken, with zero guarantees. Expecting men to willingly repeat that is naive. He's not afraid of commitment. He's afraid of being legally and emotionally destroyed.
I'm never going to get married. I don't want to get married.
Why?
There's no benefit for the man. He only has everything to lose.
What?
A man can be completely faithful to his wife, provide, protect, take care of the kids, obviously when he's not working, whatever. And the wife can step out and cheat. And what's the results of that? Man has to pay alimony, has to pay child support, loses his house, loses the cars, loses everything. Why? What's the point? And then, it's a coin flip. Flip a coin if your marriage is going to work. Those are the odds. Those are the chances. If you want to get married, cool. Throw a wedding, put the rings on each other, say your vows, you're married. You don't have to submit nothing with the courts.
Die alone?
The only reason why somebody is not okay being alone is because they're not okay with themselves.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I agree.
That's it. If you're not okay being alone, you have issues with yourself that you need to take care of.
Men are motivated by women. And it's like when the quality of the women has gone down so much and the contract of marriage, it's like, what incentive do men have? Like, genuinely, what incentive do men have to get married today?
None.
What's the average body count of a 31-year-old, which is when you're getting married? Some are coming in with kids. It's like, what incentive do men have to get married?
I feel like
that's why I say marriage in 2023, it's not marriage anymore. It's something else, because marriage is for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poor. It's like, you do this, you cannot leave no matter. I don't care if he cheats. I don't care, whatever it is, you cannot leave. But women, we don't have that mindset anymore. It's gone. But it's like social media, we are so much more susceptible to brainwashing from social media than men are. And there's so many girls that get on their phones and they think that there's a better thing coming. So there's no good woman because every girl can have social media and a guy can come in and swoop
at any time.
Yeah. And so that's the problem is
so what do we do?
What this woman describes is exactly the collapse of male incentive. Men look at today's dating scene and do the math. High body counts, kids from past relationships, zero real commitment, and a mindset that always has one foot out the door. Marriage used to be a pact. Now it's a temporary contract with heavy penalties on one side only. Social media creates the illusion of endless options, so no woman feels satisfied with what she has. Men see this and think, why invest everything in someone who's already showing she can leave tomorrow? This isn't hatred of marriage. It's self-preservation.
You know what I think? I think there are no guys who want a serious relationship in 2024.
And you want to know what I think? I think you're 100% correct, young lady. And the reason is because there's no benefit to men anymore. And we keep telling you ladies this over and over again. Men have looked at relationships. They've done an analysis and they've realized there's absolutely no return on investment in getting into a relationship with you. Now, a lot of you are thinking that that's not true because, well, you're still getting attention from men. But you see, the mistake you're making is you think that men are giving you that attention because they want to be in a relationship with you. When the reality is, they just want to have a little fun, if you catch my drift. You see, today's women have made it abundantly clear that they have extremely high expectations, unrealistic ones at that. They feel they can demand, and offer absolutely nothing in return except, well, this, whatever that is. And they don't show the least bit of kindness, caring, or consideration for men. So men have said, okay, we're not going to play this silly little game of yours anymore. We're taking our ball and we're going home. And that's why men aren't interested in serious relationships anymore. But yet, despite the fact we keep telling you this over and over and over again, you keep asking the question because you don't like the answer you're hearing. It's making you look in the mirror and say, what have we done? Why have we reached this point? And rather than take accountability, responsibility, and acknowledgement for that, you keep asking the question, hoping to get a different answer. The bottom line is this: men have walked away, and more of them are walking away every single day. So serious relationships are done for the near future. And until ladies are willing to accept responsibility, acknowledge the fact that they've treated men like garbage for decades now, and decide to make changes, it's only going to get worse.
Men don't actually want relationships.
You wanted equality, and now you're complaining that they don't want to be in a relationship with you. Equality also means the same. And since these men are not gay, why would they want to be in a relationship with another man? So you got your equality, and now they don't want to be in a relationship with you because you bring nothing to the table. You're basically men. They use you for one thing now. Of course they do, because that's what makes them not gay. But everything else, you're just like a guy. So they don't want to be in a relationship with a guy, otherwise they would be gay. And since they're not, they don't want to be in a relationship with you. You're not respectful, you don't give them peace. Maybe try being kind and sweet and nice, and don't bring drama into their lives. And don't try to change them, accept them for who they are and believe in them. And then they'll want to be in a relationship with you. It's not the fact that they don't want to be in relationships, they just don't want to be in a relationship with you. There's a difference.
This one hurts because it hits the target. Many men don't reject relationships, they reject the kind of woman that's become common. If she doesn't bring peace, respect, and cooperation, she becomes just another emotional competitor. Men don't want to date another man in female form. Equal rights don't erase natural differences. When femininity drops kindness, admiration, and support, what's left is sexual utility. Then comes the question, why won't he commit? Because relationships require complementarity, not ego battles. Men walk away because they see no value in formalizing chaos and conflict.
Why men are saying no to marriage. First of all, let's talk about freedom. A lot of men today are realizing that marriage isn't the happily ever after that they were promised. Instead, they watch other married men who are stuck in unfulfilling routine. They're financially drained, they're constantly walking on eggshells just to keep the peace. Meanwhile, single men, they have their freedom, their money, and their peace of mind. Then there's the wonderful changing dating landscape. Modern dating has made commitment more risky than ever, with hookup culture, social media attention, and dating apps giving women endless options. A lot of men just feel like marriage overall is an outdated contract that doesn't benefit them in any meaningful way. Why would he want to commit to a woman that might be keeping her options still open or out there playing the game still? And then what? She cheats on him? There's really no penalty for cheating in your marriage. So he's supposed to just let that happen and then she leaves and takes half? I don't think so.
This is how you know that this man doesn't really want a serious relationship. The most obvious way to find out is that when he talks about his future, he never adds you to it. But neither does he talk about any kind of partner you would like to have next to him in the future. Maybe he has introduced you to his friends, but that doesn't mean anything, because guys have a certain code of trust between each other. So last Friday he introduced you, but last Saturday he popped up with another girl. You don't know that, and his friends will never tell on him. What's way more definite is if he has introduced you to his family, especially to his mom. Because if he hasn't, then he's still not sure about you. And when you two are together, does he really try to get to know you? Is he really interested to see in what kind of person you are and what dreams you have for yourself? Or is your relationship more about going out, having fun and having great sex together? Because a guy who's always only about fun and having a great time with you is not serious about you. And the other thing, and I find this the most important, does he make you a priority in his life? Does he drop everything and everybody just to see you on a Saturday night because he hasn't seen you the whole week? And very important, is he there for you when you need him? Because a man who's really interested in a woman wants to be of service to her. He wants to be useful in her life. Because a man shows his true love by doing things for a woman. And if he's unreliable, he's just not there to do anything for you because he's busy with other things, then I'm sorry to say, but he's not in it for the long run.
She points out real signs but misses the root cause. Many men don't include women in their future because they've learned not to promise anything. They've seen promises turned into weapons through divorce, child support, and accusations, so they move cautiously. Introducing a woman to family became a risk, not an honor. Blind prioritization too. A man may care, but he no longer trusts the system or modern behavior. He keeps things light because commitment today is too expensive. It's not lack of feeling, it's calculation. The mistake is thinking casual behavior isn't a response to the current environment.
I'm just going to talk about this comment that was left on one of my videos, and there's quite a few men that leave similar comments to this, and this proclamation that, you know, this is why men are staying single. And this is obviously not all men, but there is a reason why men do this. And the reason that men say I'm staying single, which in other terms basically means I'm also willing to have a string of hookups that mean nothing to get my own needs satisfied, is that the reason that they do this is because they are not willing to face themselves. Any man that says, you know, I'm staying single is because they do not want to be in a situation that is causing them to face parts of themselves that have been denied, that have been repressed, where they are not taking accountability for the way that they show up in relationships. And obviously, if they're not in relationship or opening themselves up to the right person, they're not going to have this mirroring. And so by isolating and saying, you know, this is why men are staying single, it's just basically another way of saying, I don't want to face myself. Because unfortunately in Western society and sort of in the modern world, men are becoming apathetic, they're becoming more feminized. And when wounded feminine energy shows up in men, it causes them to lack accountability, to not want to take responsibility, to be flighty, to not commit to things, which is automatically a massive turn off to women that are in a healed feminine energy. And so the sorts of women that they would actually, you know, thrive in relationship with, they're not attracting anyway, because they're not opening themselves up to the possibility that actually they're the ones that are responsible for the type of women that they're actually pulling in the first place. And so it becomes this vicious cycle. But when men say, you know, that they're staying single as an act of, you know, trying to control their circumstances, the reality is underneath that they're feeling very much out of control. And because they don't have a language for communicating, you know, what's going on underneath, because no man that is in a healed masculine energy is going to make this proclamation and decide that he's going to be single for the rest of his life. Because when you look at the way that obviously masculine energy thrives in life, it is to build, it's to continuously have something to move towards, to build some sort of legacy for self, and to feel as if they're creating a foundation, you know, and building something. And so when you're saying, you know, I'm cutting off my own growth, which is obviously what comes from being in a relationship anyway, they're automatically showcasing they're not actually in their masculine. Because to get to the end of your life and basically look back and say, you know, I worked a job that was okay, that paid the bills, sat on my own money so I didn't have to pay anything, you know, for women, and, you know, got to the end of my life with a string of hookups. You look back at that as a legacy for a male, and the level of regret that would come with that is not going to feel good. So if a man makes this proclamation, then this is what he really means. And emotional fulfillment in life comes from the depth of intimacy we have with our partners, with the people that are closest to us. And when we cut ourselves off from that and the possibility of exploring that, we don't live an emotionally fulfilling life. We live a life that's filled with surface level distractions, surface level projections that don't actually lean into anything of depth. And so when a man says this, he's likely very much in his feminine, in an apathetic energy where he doesn't want to commit to things. And so within a relationship, he's not going to take accountability. This is obviously very different for a man that chooses to stay single until the right person comes along and works on himself in the meantime. This is an attribute of a healthy masculine male, and a man that's able to concentrate and focus his energy in such a way that's actually going to be really supportive and conducive once the right partner shows up, or once he's ready to take that step with the right partner. And this is the sort of dynamic and mentality that actually breeds and calls in soul connection as well, because the man is anchored into his masculine energy as opposed to dismissing the concept of relationship altogether, which is naturally a byproduct of being very wounded. And soul connection in and of itself can only come in when you are truly connected to yourself, whether you're male or female. So if you don't have a deep understanding of, your own psyche, the way that you operate, of your own triggers, where you're not taking accountability and reconciling that internally, you're not actually in a position to attract in what would be like a deep soul connection anyway. So all of these things are interconnected. They all play into one another. But the difference is that when you are connected to self, you see the mirroring and the divinity in others. When you are not connected to yourself, you see through the eyes of separation, of somebody else wanting to take from you, as opposed to being with an open and generous heart that actually allows you to feel the fullness of what a relationship can actually bring for you.
This is the classic reversal, blaming men for protecting themselves. Calling it wounded feminine energy is just spiritual lipstick. Many men stay single because relationships now feel more like punishment than growth. They work, build, improve, but don't want constant emotional conflict or legal risks. Choosing to stay single isn't running away. It's a strategic decision. Growth doesn't come only from relationships. It comes from discipline, purpose, and responsibility. The issue isn't that men don't want commitment. It's that modern commitment no longer offers safety, respect, or reciprocity. No one runs from what actually feels good.